Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to my live stream today, where I discuss all things about the navigating very complex job market at the moment and how you can advance your career and find your ideal job. There's certainly a lot of issues out there at the moment. The job market is a difficult one, which I've alluded to before, and it's certainly become a lot more complex since probably COVID. So let's dive straight into this. I've got about four areas I've been asked to speak about today. But the first one is, let me just give you some stats here on LinkedIn versus email versus telephone calls versus WhatsApp. I've been studying this all week, and I can tell you, this might surprise you, that a direct email to a client, you'll get about 5% chance of response. That doesn't just mean a job application. That just means an outreach email. You've got probably a 4 or 5% chance getting a response. On LinkedIn, that stat's a bit higher. I would say that's probably about 15%. If your personal brand is really strong on LinkedIn, you'll go above that, around 30, even 40 if you're really good. The telephone calls at the moment, they are the best. I'll give you a trick on telephone calls in a minute, but people don't want to, people take telephone calls. It seems that they're very invasive to a lot of people, and that method of outreach to people seems very outdated. What I find, if you're making job applications and you've got to call around companies, no one ever answers the phone anymore. It's almost like a waste of time trying to call people. But there is a trick on that, and that's basically you either do a cold email or a cold LinkedIn message and say, I'll call you in an hour to discuss, and then that will give the people that you're trying to reach send shivers down their spine, because they say, I don't want to answer a telephone call, that's too invasive. So telephone calls, just use them in conjunction. The response rate, well, it's not that there's no response rate, it's just trying to do direct cold outreach is so difficult on telephone. WhatsApp is a great one. WhatsApp is probably where you get the most response at the moment, but it's very difficult. You've got to know people to get them on WhatsApp. So where I'm trying to go with all of this, people are using LinkedIn incorrectly at the moment, generally using LinkedIn incorrectly. And by that, I mean that I think that all employers, before they even look at a CV, will look at a LinkedIn profile. A lot of the profiles we see don't have enough detail on them, and all they want to see is like your experience and where you work. You need to get that on your LinkedIn bio, get it sorted before you start applying for jobs. Also, another thing to bear in mind is people are just too quiet on LinkedIn. I get it that some people are, don't want to put their head above the parapet, don't like social media. But I'm afraid if you want to get noticed, you've got to speak. It builds your personal brand. Everything is about your personal brand. If you've got strong personal brand, people are more likely to respond to you when you make an outreach to them. The other thing I want to say about LinkedIn is, please, when you're changing your LinkedIn bio, definitely do it, of course, but make sure your settings are right. So when you change your LinkedIn bio, you're not notifying your whole network, including your current boss, that you just change your LinkedIn bio, because that's a sure sign that you're looking for a job. So just change your settings to privacy, to private, and you'll be able to change them. No one will be notified, and then you can set them back. So please, guys, use LinkedIn. It's the biggest way of getting hold of people at the moment. Okay, if you're doing a direct outreach, make it soft at first, but when you get a connection, then you can follow up and you can say, I'll give you a call to discuss in the next hour or so, and you are going to get a higher hit rate. And if you can get a hit rate 35 to 40% on LinkedIn, you're doing really, really well. Okay, so that's just an overview of LinkedIn. I've got another point about that at the end, which I'll come to. The next point is, I've had a candidate. This is I talk about this every week. Candidates emailed me and they said, hi, I'm obviously not going to give their name. Hi, I'm such and such. I'm a full stack developer. I live in the UAE for around 8 months now, and I'm struggling to find a job. I recently graduated as a student, as a software developer. Someone has told me trying to find remote jobs is the best way because it's very competitive to get a job in the UAE. I sent thousands of applications, but nothing, just 3 or 4 reviews and no interviews. So I'm here to ask you for advice. Okay, so firstly, what do we do here? I checked this candidate's profile on LinkedIn and they just don't have enough information there. So first and foremost, get your LinkedIn profile right. Make sure I'm not an expert in what you do, but make sure obviously it says somewhere that you're a software developer, full stack developer. Make sure that's in your profile and your actual experience is there. So make sure you get your LinkedIn bio correct. Secondly, remote jobs are the most competitive jobs out there. Who doesn't want to work at home for someone remotely on the other side of the world and potentially earn, a bit more money? So you're actually applying for the most competitive type of roles, which are posted jobs for posted remote jobs. Your chance of getting a job at that company would be less than 0.5%. Less than 0.5%. The response rate on posted jobs, I'll say this again to everyone. I'm not apologizing for saying this every week. Of all the jobs on the job market, only 20% are advertised. Those 20% that are advertised are the ones that everyone is applying for, including this person. For every job application that is posted, a client will get, they'll get way over 250 applicants. Your chances of getting an interview are probably about 10%. Okay, so you're already down to 1% chance of getting a job. Your chance of going through and getting a job offer are probably from that are about a 1 in 4 chance. So now you're down to 0.25%. I'm sorry, I apologize. My maths isn't great. And then when you get a job offer, the chance of you accepting that job is probably about 1 in 2. So you got a 0.125% chance of getting a job. Chance. That's all I'm saying. So of your 4,000 applications, the bottom line is you've got very little chance of the process it the way that you're going about things. You're applying for advertised roles. What you've got to do is direct outreach. 80% of jobs are never advertised. You find those jobs by connecting with the right people at the right companies and going to them softly and saying, look, I'm potentially seeking new opportunities. I've recently graduated. I specialize in X, Y, and Z. Would you potentially have anything, or would you be open for discussion as I'm considering career opportunities? Okay. So that's what you've got to do. You've got to the chances are that a person could be hiring. And the 80% of jobs that are never posted, the scenario is that a hiring manager or director of a company might be really busy. And then he gets a soft approach by someone like yourself and they think, actually, I need someone. And they don't have to go through the whole process of doing formalized job adverts and paying for it and going through HR. It's quick, easy. They get people that they want. So if you're a hiring manager, think about this. What's the first thing you do when you think we're overworked or we need to replace someone? You think, who can we move around internally? Step number 1. Step number 2, who do I know in my contacts that could fill this role? Maybe even staff know. So they'll be looking for internal referrals. Thirdly, they then walk down the corridor to HR and say, we need someone. And they'll say exactly the same thing. Who do we know? So this is going on. This will be going on for 2-3 weeks. In the meantime, you pop in an email to them and all of a sudden they'll start discussions with you. It becomes a lot easier. The process is already underway, almost like the interview process, because you're in dialogue, you're building a rapport with people. It's so much easier. You're not competing against 1,000 other applications. Okay, you're straight in, speaking to the decision maker, and I haven't even advertised the role. As I say, 80% of the jobs are never ever posted. A lot of companies just don't want to post their jobs as well. My advice to that basically is I think that you are, remote jobs, number 1, competitive. You go for posted jobs. You need to do a direct outreach to companies and you need to spend time on it. Okay. You can't just do 5 or 6 direct outreach emails. You have to do hundreds and then the interviews will start and the meetings will start adding up. and things will start happening. You'll start getting a response. But here's the trick: if you are using a direct outreach, use LinkedIn. Use LinkedIn. Don't use emails because the response rate is low. So approach them on LinkedIn, but you've got to get your LinkedIn bio right first. Get your LinkedIn bio right. Approach people on LinkedIn, and when and approach them really softly, just say, "Look, I'm considering the opportunity to specialize in this. Be interested in connecting with you and building my network in this area." 95% of people will accept your connection because you're a recently graduated person who's just trying to build a network. When they accept your LinkedIn invite, you then follow up a bit more formally and say, actually, yeah, thank you. I am building my network. I'm looking for opportunities. Would you be up for having an informal chat just to see if there's anything within your organization? What sort of good employer that perhaps needs people in this area isn't going to turn down a chance to find a candidate that's like low hanging fruit for them potentially, even if they don't want to hire right now, they'll want to meet you. Okay. So try that approach. Let's see how your stats improve. I bet you, I'm pretty certain that you're going to get interviews, but it's not about making 5 or 6. You've got to make hundreds. Remote jobs, please don't, you know, concentrate on the UAE. There's plenty of opportunities in the UAE, plenty of opportunities. You just got to go and find the right people. Remote jobs are hard. They mess around. I mean, I've seen the adverts. I mean, half of them, I question whether they're real. So stick to UAE. You're in a good market. You'll definitely find something there. Just change your, okay. The next question that I've had is, how do I resign professionally? So this is, this is a good question. And resigning, let's talk about the mindset and the psychology of resigning from a job. Most people build it up to something that it's not. Okay, they build up, oh no, my boss is going to be so disappointed and mad at me if I resign. Let me just tell you, and I say to candidates, if the ball was on the other foot and your employer had to the work was dying down and they had to make redundancies, they would have no hesitation in making you redundant. They would have to do it. Okay. So if you've got a better opportunity out there, that's just simply a better opportunity for you. And that's why you're resigning. It's a business transaction. If you resign from your job, that company is not going to collapse and fall down. It's not going to happen. They'll find someone else. They'll still go, just like you'll go your career. So yeah, people get emotionally, no employer likes to know or like to feel that someone's resigning from their job without any warning or indication that that's going to happen. They don't like it. There might be an emotional attachment involved with the person who's resigning, but 9 times out of 10 is because it creates upheaval for them. They've got to replace you, or they've got to restructure, and they just don't like it from that regard. Yeah, you might be a big loss to the company, but they will still carry on. Just remember that loyalty lies to yourself first before any employer. If you've got a better opportunity and even better, you've given your employer to address any issues that you might have, then there's absolutely no issue with resigning. Okay, so how do you resign properly? And let me give you some stories. I've seen instances in the past. So I had one guy who was a lawyer, and basically he resigned, and partner pretty much locked him up in a room for about 4 or 5 hours and refused to take his resignation. Okay, you've got to be cold, calculated, and direct. Okay, you go straight to the decision maker, straight to them. Okay, not through HR. You go straight to your boss. Okay, and you hand him a letter or her a letter, and you say, "Please read this. I'm resigning from my job. Nothing personal, just a straightforward career decision." There it is. It's on a letter, and you do it at the end of the day. At the end of the day, you do it, and then you walk out and say, "Look, I've got to rush off now, but if you want to speak about it tomorrow, I'm happy to speak about it." And then you leave. Okay, the emotion is gone. Your boss might be, he or she might be absolutely livid at you at that point. Okay, but you've left the building and you're out. You're out of there. So they've got then a chance to reflect on your resignation and what they're going to do. So that the next day when you come in, there's going to be more of a calmer discussion. They might ask you, would you change your mind? Or sometimes they're happy that you've gone. But if they do try and get you to change your mind, I'll tell you this, another interesting stat, that 70% of people, or probably even higher than that, probably about 80% of people, if they then backtrack and go back to their employer after accepting another job offer, the chances are within 6 to 12 months they could be on the market looking again. You've already told your boss that you're resigning, so already that trust is gone. Remember that, okay? So don't be swayed by counteroffers. Just stick to your decision when you made it. You explain the reasons why. There's a better opportunity for me. I'm sorry, I've enjoyed my time here. Thank you very much, but I'm leaving. Don't entertain small chat with your employer. Don't say, if they said to you, what can I do to change the situation? It's already too late. You made your decision. Let's be honest. One of the lowest things that an employer can do is they're paying you. One of the reasons why you might have left is because the career opportunities are there. But as soon as you hand in your resignation, they offer you 10 grand more to stay. Why does it take someone to resign for your employer to pay you the market rate? Why does it take someone to resign for your employer to give you what you deserve in terms of your position? It shouldn't come to that. You made your decision, stick to it, you're out. Nothing will change your mind. Do it professionally, do it calmly, do it politely so no bridges are burned, and then you move on. When you resigned, you then inform your employer. Obviously, you've got to work out your notice to check your notice period as well. You inform your new employer that you've resigned. It's only at that stage can they take references from your current employer. They don't do it until you have officially resigned. So be really strict on future employers. So don't stress about resigning too much. It's easier said than done. Just do it. Just do it. Don't even think about it. Just do it. There's a letter, I'm resigning. You can think about it all you want later, but it's a business transaction. It happens all the time. Business isn't going to collapse just because you've left. Okay, you're looking after your own interests. It's a right decision. You made it for the right reason, and you stick to that. You stick to that decision. So the next thing I want to talk about is privacy issues on LinkedIn and job searches and things like that. When you're looking for jobs, you don't really want to alert your employer that that you're looking for jobs. So I've alluded to this before. Just change your settings to private mode, and you can change your profile on LinkedIn. Okay, so just if anyone's got any questions on how you do that, please by all means DM me. I think the theme of this week, like it is with most weeks, is about doing direct outreach, making cold approaches to clients or potential people that you want to work for. Doing it by LinkedIn because the response rate is higher there. If you don't respond on LinkedIn, by all means, email them. Obviously, you can follow the trick that I'm suggesting. You'll find that you'll get more meetings. You've got to get your LinkedIn. You've got to get your LinkedIn bio correct. And yeah, I mean, if you follow all of those things, you're going to get activity. Thing that was mentioned to me, someone said, how do I explain a job move or why I'm looking to leave my current employer? Okay, it's a good question. And another question that people struggle with, to me, is quite the method that I use to answer that question is it's a push-pull thing. It's a push-pull. Something is pushing you away from your current employer to make you want to look. Money is never a good reason to move jobs, by the way. So it shouldn't be your primary motivator, although let's be honest, for a lot of people, it could be. But there's got to be something pushing you away, perhaps outside of money. It could be the working environment. It could be the level of responsibility that you're given. It could be the career structure, and that's how you would phrase perhaps that the chances of getting promotion would be higher. It could be the management. All of these reasons are factors that are pushing you away from a firm. But then you say, look, this is what's pushing me away. And then you say, what's pulling me or what's attracting me about coming to an interview here is X, Y, and Z. Okay. So that's how you explain why you're leaving your current firm. it's a pushable factor. This is what's pushing me away. It's making me consider new opportunities. I was approached about this role. This is why I like it. The recruiter, blah, blah, blah. And that's attracted me to it. That's how you answer that question. Okay, so pretty much wraps it up. I do these live streams every Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Please, 1 o'clock, sorry, 12 o'clock UK time. So please like, subscribe to my channel. All of this content is absolutely free. The reason why I'm doing it is to help people that are struggling out there to navigate the job market. A lot of the time it's just about fine tuning. I have over 22 years of recruitment experience and running my own business where I employed people for over 22 years. So yeah, hopefully that helps. And please have a good rest of the week. And hopefully I look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.